to a new episode of Dooley Does Food. And I'm your host, DooleyDoesIt. Welcome back. First and foremost, I just want to give everybody a shout out. Y'all are coming through with these likes, shares, and subscriptions. Girl, I can talk, right? But thank you all. We're now at about 500 subscribers, which is excellent. I can't believe that there's 500 people out there that want to listen to what I have to say. But thank you all for coming on this ride with me and sharing this journey. I appreciate you all. And a special shout out to Maddie Rants and the Rant Pack. Y'all have been coming through for all of the content that we've been creating for you all, the panel, and it's amazing. So thank you all for the love and appreciation. I love you all. But today it's about the mothers, the mamas. So happy Mother's Day. And this video is dedicated to my mom, Miss D. So similar to some of y'all in the comments, my mom was like, Jamel, how come you don't have any vegan or vegetarian recipes? My mom does eat vegetarian, and so she requested that for Mother's Day, I do a vegetarian recipe. So that's what we're getting into today, and I decided that we're gonna do a rendition of General Tso's tofu. So get comfortable, sit down, grab your little drink, and let's get into it. See you on the other side. All right, so first things first, I'm the realist. No, I'm kidding. First things first, we gotta get the water out of this tofu. When it's packaged, they put in a little bit of liquid so that the tofu doesn't dry out. So we gotta undo that. Wrap your tofu in a kitchen towel. You can also do paper towel, but that can be kind of wasteful because you need a lot of it. Wrap your tofu up in a towel, set it on a plate, and then set another plate on top of it. Then you're gonna put something heavy on it. Think a big pot, it could be a book, whatever you have on hand, but we wanna constrict it so that that water leaves our tofu block. Cover it, put your weight on it, and set it aside for about 25 to 30 minutes. That's usually enough time to get the water off of it so we can get to work. While our tofu is draining, let's use this time to get our sauce together. Here in this bowl, I have put together 1 tablespoon of rice wine vinegar, 1 tablespoon of sesame oil, 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, 1 tablespoon of hoisin sauce, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, 1 tablespoon of cornstarch, 1/4 cup of veggie stock, 1 teaspoon of Chinese 5-spice, 1 teaspoon of black pepper, and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Put them in your bowl and whisk them together until all of the ingredients are incorporated. Let's also use this time to get our veggies together. Here I've just quartered a bell pepper. Make sure you get that pithy kind of white stuff out of the pepper. You don't want to serve that. And then cut your bell pepper into little matchsticks. We're gonna use this to jazz up our dish, give it some garnish, and personally I believe that you should always have something green on your plate, and so we're gonna fill that requirement here. Also, now would be a really good time to steam your broccoli. For this dish, I used about 1 cup of broccoli. Steam it for maybe 6 or 7 minutes. There will be a time for you to add some cooking onto it when we mix everything together. And certainly last but not least, we're gonna do the same thing to an onion. Feel free to use a sweet onion or you can use a red onion. I used about 1/2 of an onion, with a medium-sized onion. Cut them in matchsticks, set them aside with your bell pepper and your broccoli. And before we get back to our tofu, I want you all to mince 2 cloves of garlic and a small piece of ginger. It should look something similar to this here. Mince them and set them aside with your other veggies. Alright, by now your tofu should be ready to work with. We got all that water off. Remove your block from your towel, and then we're gonna slowly cut our tofu into small, manageable, easily eaten blocks. Just follow what I do here. We're gonna move lengthwise and then widthwise. Just work slowly and methodically until you get your blocks broken down and it looks like it does in our final shot here. All right, we're moving along. Next up, we gotta season our tofu. Tofu is just one big flavor sponge. Whatever you season it with, that's what it's gonna taste like. We're doing general so's. So, I have 1 tablespoon of sesame oil, 1 tablespoon of maple syrup, 1/8 of a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. If you really don't like spicy food, you can omit that. We also have 4 tablespoons of cornstarch, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of pepper, 1/2 teaspoon of cumin, and just a little dash of Chinese 5-spice. Add in all of your ingredients and then use a spatula to gently, I say gently, you know, tofu's a little delicate, honey. Gently use your spatula to integrate the ingredients. We want our tofu to be covered with all that flavor and goodness. You know, just because we're not dealing with meat doesn't mean we don't have to do our due diligence. We still want our friends and our family to have a good experience, right? Now that we have all the pieces to our puzzle, we can start cooking and building our dish. Also, if you're interested in serving this with rice, do this now before you cook the tofu, just according to whatever the instructions are on the packaging. Moving forward, we're going to sweat our veggies. So add in your onion, your garlic, your peppers. We're gonna sweat them in about 2 tablespoons of butter and a little taste of sesame oil. Sweating allows for us to take the rawness off of our veggies and to give them a little color. Remember, we don't just eat with our stomachs, we eat with our eyes. When your veggies look like this, translucent, a bit of a golden brownness, take it off and set it aside. We'll come back to that later. Now it's time for us to fry up our tofu. Get your pan super hot. We're thinking medium high. Add in about 2 tablespoons of butter and a touch of sesame oil. And then slowly add your tofu into the pan in batches. We don't want to overcrowd our pan, otherwise this will steam. Use your spatula once again to mix up your tofu and to coat it in that butter oil mixture. And keep an eye on it. We're just gonna let it work. We're gonna let it percolate. We're gonna let it get nice golden brown and sexy. Remember when all the girls and the gays went to PV last year? That's what you want this tofu to look like. Work slow and steady, allow for that color to develop, and eventually your tofu will look like this. See how that golden brown is there? It looks so crispy, so good. As you're working through your batches of tofu, getting them all cooked and brown, set them on paper towel to drain, and then we're gonna go back to our pan and mix everything together. We gotta cook our sauce. Get your skillet nice and hot. Then we're gonna add in our red pepper flakes. I really like spicy food, so I added a bit extra, but this recipe only calls for a teaspoon. Gently toast your pepper flakes. We're blooming them. We're gonna bring out the flavors of that and give it a little earthiness as well. Add in your tofu, then your aromatics, all your veggies. And then you're gonna go and get that bowl you made the sauce in. and add that in there. As you cook this liquid mixture, the moisture is going to be removed through the cooking process, and then it'll become nice and sweet and sticky and start to cling to that tofu. Once again, be very, very gentle here, and please don't cook this for too long, otherwise that coating that we have on our tofu will dissolve. So work gently, but also work a little quickly. We don't want to do too much. We don't want to ruin the work that we've already gone through. Once that tofu is coated, we can build our plate. Lay down your bed of rice, and then slowly spoon in your General Tso's tofu. Make sure it's nice and even layered. You want to make sure that when you're eating, you can get a bite of everything. Then go ahead and add in that broccoli that we steamed. I don't know about y'all, but when I go to the Chinese food spot, they give me broccoli with my sauce. And then garnish with a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper just to taste. And now you're ready to serve. Look at that. That looks pretty good, huh? Hey, what did you think? I absolutely love that recipe because of how versatile it is. You can use that with tofu, you can use that with beef or chicken. Try it out, y'all. Let me know how y'all feel about it in the comments below. You get a little spicy, you get a little sweet, like, oh, it was so delicious. I lost my footage, y'all, of me tasting it, so that's why it wasn't included, but it was delicious, y'all. Anyway, thank you all for joining me for another episode of Dooley Does Food. I am your host, Dooley Noted, and once again, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.